going on, you guys? Welcome back to EP09. So we're going to start this one off with an update from the Masters Olympia, and we have Hidetada Yamagishi taking home the win in the 212 division. And you know, I feel like a lot of people were really counting out Hide going into the show, but he showed up absolutely peeled to the bone. He had that extra bit of detail when it came to the front and the side shots, and I think this was a really well-deserved victory. So congrats to Hide on the victory here at the Masters Olympia, and I believe the champion of each division qualifies for the actual Olympia. So we'll see if Hide decides to go on and do the big show. Now, when it comes to the Open, we'll have both the prejudging and the finals tomorrow, but when it comes to the top 5, I think this is going to be a battle between 5 competitors: Josh Lenardowitz, Fred Biggie Smalls, Max Charles, Kamal El Gargni, and Phil Clayhar. So I'm going to give you guys my predictions for the top 5, and it's a bit tough since we haven't seen any physique updates from Josh Lenardowitz and Max Charles, but the way I think it's going to go down is I think Max Charles is going to be in 5th place, I have Josh Lenardowitz in 4th, Fred Biggie Smalls in 3rd, Kamal El Gargni in 2nd, and I have Phil Clayhar in 1st. Now this is just kind of a fun one, you guys, but I'm telling you right now, I will not count out Phil Clayhar again, not after counting him out in the Orlando Pro. I think it will be a tight battle between him and Kamal, but ultimately, I think Phil is going to outsize him, and I think their conditioning will be comparable. So you guys let me know your top 5 predictions in the comments below. Okay, next up, we have an update here from Michal Krizo, and these updates from Krizo lately have been very impressive, but it seems like Krizo is still mainly outside of the conversation for that first call-out this year, and I wanted to discuss that for a minute here. Now, I know that some of you guys do have Krizo in your top 6, but for the most part, I just feel like he's outside of that conversation. So first off, this does look like we'll see the best Michal Krizo on the Olympia stage this year. As of right now, he's got bigger arms, wider shoulders, his back is improved from what we saw at the Empro Classic, and he looks like he's bringing a level of conditioning that he hasn't achieved in the past. So it's safe to say that Krizo is definitely improved, and I think he'll be an imposing presence on that Olympia stage. So, based on those things, should we be considering Michal Krizo for a top 6 finish this year a little bit more than we have? I mean, look at who are being heavily favored in bodybuilding these days. You have Andrew Jacked, a tall, aesthetic, imposing force in his own right on stage. Samson Dauda, another tall competitor. He's big, he's round, he's full, his presentation engages the fans and the judges. BIg Ramy is still a recent Olympia winner, relatively speaking, and he had those attributes when he was taking home the Sandow. So, why not Krizo? Now granted, he does need to improve on his glutes, but you guys, this is not a glute competition. That should not be the factor that holds him back as far as I'm concerned. The bottom line is, if the taller aesthetic mass monsters are being heavily rewarded in modern bodybuilding, then I'm going to ask you guys again, should Michal Krizo be in that conversation for the top 6 a little bit more than he has been? You guys let me know in the comments below. Okay, so speaking of BIg Ramy, I had a comment on one of my recent videos asking about, well, frankly, where the hell has BIg Ramy been lately? So I wanted to address that in this video. So look, it's not like BIg Ramy has been completely absent of social media. He has been posting on his Instagram, he's been pushing his Panada equipment sponsor and whoever else he's sponsored by. He's working on a real estate development deal in Dubai to some extent. He has his Red Rex supplement company, but in terms of physique updates, we have seen basically nothing from Ramy since the 2023 Arnold Classic. And we really don't even have confirmation that BIg Ramy is competing at the Olympia this year. I actually just watched Xavier Will's video on Desktop Bodybuilding. He said he spoke to Chad Nichols, and any of the physique updates that you're seeing of BIg Ramy on his Instagram are not recent. So I mean, take this for what it is, you guys. I'm going to assume that this picture of him in a t-shirt is at least recent enough. So in this recent picture, from what we can see, the forearms are vascular, he looks fairly lean, the shoulders look big, but the arms, they still look downsized. And you guys, like I said, take that with a grain of salt, because we really can't discern anything from this picture. But if I was to guess if BIg Ramy was competing in the Olympia this year, based on what we're seeing here, I think the answer is no. And if he is planning on doing the Olympia this year, he should put everything else aside right now, not tomorrow, right now, get back in the gym, start training like an animal, and get focused on reclaiming that Olympia title. Because right now, it doesn't look like competing is his main focus. It looks like he's really focusing on the business side of things, which I respect. But you guys, there were years where BIg Ramy would be posting multiple physique updates throughout his Olympia preps, and this year, literally nothing. So you guys, again, let me know in the comments section if you think BIg Ramy is coming back to the Olympia stage this year. Like I said, he best be putting his foot on the gas very soon if he wants to have a shot in hell at reclaiming his title. Okay, so one competitor that we know will be on that Olympia stage and gunning for that Olympia title this year is Samson Dauda. Now, Samson appeared in a recent guest posing at the Dallas Pro-Am Championships, and I honestly love to see athletes on stage at any point during their Olympia prep. You can tell from Samson's posing here that just being on a bodybuilding stage has him fired up. And at 10 weeks out, Samson is looking not only to be on track, but I think he's just a little bit ahead of the game in terms of conditioning as compared to last year's prep. He probably dropped a bit of water for this guest posing, but I think staying relatively lean this far out is a strategy that will work well for Samson personally as he gets to those final 4 weeks of prep. I said it in the previous video, Samson really suffered to shred down during his 2022 Olympia prep, and by staying in this kind of shape, he shouldn't have to suffer as much as he did last year. He will suffer, I guarantee Milos will have him suffering, but I think this puts him on track to be at his absolute best this year, and he does look good in this guest posing. Like I said earlier, between his size, shape, and his ability to present himself properly, Samson is definitely a presence on any bodybuilding stage that really is undeniable. So this is a great preview of what's to come, and I'm sure this is probably the last we'll see of Samson doing any guest posings. I'm sure he's ready to shut it down, get focused, and go after that Olympia title. Anyway, that's it for me in this video, you guys. Thank you for tuning into EP09. Be sure to like and subscribe.